Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are at Canoeland's Orchard, which is about an hour's drive from my parents' place in Sydney. This morning we had Ruby's birthday party and that went really well. And today I thought we would come here and pick some fruit. Primarily we are on the hunt for peaches. I was watching, I think it's Three Rivers Homestead, and they were talking about how they have dairy allergies in their family and they use peach butter, and I thought, oh, that would be such an amazing way to make things taste, especially sandwiches, taste so amazing. And so since then I've been obsessed with making peach butter and waiting for peach season, and I've been specifically watching Canoeland's social media, waiting for them to say their peaches are in season. And they finally said the peaches are in season, and we were in Sydney obviously for Ruby's birthday. They have nectarines and we have been sent to the nectarine section. They have no peaches, so I've driven over an hour to come to get peaches, and there are no peaches. So it's nectarines and plums today, and we're gonna grab all of these. I think she said they were $7 a kilo for whatever you got, and we're gonna get these. And it has been about 3 years since I last came here. I actually last came here, and it was the first time I came here with Rubes when she was 3, and she was so tired because she'd just woken up from her nap. And I just remember once she got into it, she was picking fruities for Nanny because Nanny loves fruities.
Nanny loves fruities.
Nanny does love fruities. Can you pick a few more for Nanny? And it's just so lovely to be back here and to be able to do this sort of thing. I was hoping they would have berries available as well, because there aren't a lot of berry farms near where I live, but there is another peach farm, so I am hoping I can get my peaches from there to make peach butter. Obviously, I'm pretty into growing my own food and learning to preserve, as that's pretty much what we do on this channel. But it is kind of cool to come to a place like this and see where and how they mass produce something like nectarines, and how you can still include the family and make it like a fun event where you come and choose your food. I think there's just something magical about picking your own fruit. I love being able to pick things like snow peas in my garden, just as you're walking around and you're just able to grab a little snack, and this is the same sort of thing, and it's just going to be so awesome. So given that I can't make peach butter because we're not picking peaches, what I am probably going to do with these is, well, Nanny loves fruities, so we'll be giving some to Nanny, and I'm probably going to freeze dry the rest and experiment with the freeze dryer with these guys. And I'll be looking into other preservation methods. Today was the big day. Today was Ruby's party, and it went really, really well. I had actually reduced the amount of fruit powder I put in the cake because the raspberry on the trial cake was a little bit intense. But to be honest, I think I should have stuck with my guns and put in more powder than I did. But that being said, the cake turned out really well. I couldn't get it to shape the way she wanted it to without having the cake actually end up really small. So that backfired a little bit, but she was really happy with the way it turned out, and I was really happy with the way it turned out. It was my first time using isomalt, and to be able to kind of shape that up and create Elsa's ice castle was really cool. The original plan was to come here today after the party, mostly to get me out of cleaning, but because I wanted to get the peaches and I wanted to get them right before I drove home so they weren't overripe by the time I got home. I think these guys still have a little way to go, so they'll be fine. And originally I wanted to drive home today, but I have been doing decorations and party prep and cooking for 2 days and I'm done. Like, my feet are sore when I got out of the car here. I was like, I'm getting old. So I think we will stay in Sydney another night and we will head home tomorrow because it's a 3-hour drive. And if the hour and something drive here taught me anything, it's that I'm too cactus for a 3-hour drive today. Okay, I think we've got enough. We've got a big bag full and they said the bag carries between 10 to 12 kilos. I think I've already got a fair few kilos of nectarines, so I'm going to pick a couple more and then I'm going to head over to the plums and head home. I feel like this is a long way to drive just for nectarines, but I guess it's more about the experience, and the experience of being out here and just doing something different is so lovely. Okay, so I'll show you guys what I got. I got one of their honeys because you can never have too much honey, and I thought it might be nice to try a local honey. And they had a lavender infused honey, which has kind of got a slight purple hue to it, which is probably unsurprising, but I don't know what this is going to taste like. It could be gross or it could be amazing, but I thought, you live once. Now, I didn't get a lot of candied plums, mostly because, to be honest, I didn't want to get another tick bite. You guys know I've had my first 2 tick bites in recent weeks and both times were doozies. I also don't really love plums, and most of them were teeny weeny and a fair way from being ripe, but I thought they could ripen on my kitchen bench and I'd like to try them, and I'd like to have some freeze dried. I was the whole time trying to guess how much weight wise I had and trying to work out what would be 5 trays worth in the freeze dryer, but you can see we got a lot of nectarines, and they said basically we had about 7.5 kilos of nectarines and about 1.5 of the candied plums. So I think last time Rubes and I picked about 7 kilos of nectarines and plums, nectarines and peaches, and I'm pretty sure my mum smashed about 3 kilos of fruit in a week. So that was pretty impressive. So I'm sure she'll be happy to see me come home again. So right now I'm knackered and baking in the car, and I'm going to turn the air conditioning on in a second, but I got a nectarine ice cream to polish off before I go, which I'm pretty excited about. I've never had nectarine ice cream before. In my dream post-birthday cake sugar high, I was hoping that I would do the birthday party, bail before the cleanup, come here, which is an hour drive from my parents' house, pick a whole bunch of peaches and nectarines. They didn't have the peaches, but then I was hoping that I would either go home and then go to Costco or just go from here to Costco. But Costco is an hour away from here, which is the same distance as my parents' house. And I'm just, it's too far. It's too hard. I'm done. The sugar is no longer coursing through my veins to quite the extent that it was before. And in an ultimate dream, I was hoping to then pack up all my stuff and drive home. And home is another 3-hour drive. So with an hour plus to get here, an hour plus to get home, plus a 3-hour drive to get to my home on the South Coast, I don't have a 5-hour drive in me after getting up at 5:45 to walk the dogs and finish the birthday cake and finish setting up the birthday party and finish the birthday food and do the party. I am done. But I picked up a yummy little nectarine ice cream, so I'm really excited about that. And it was lovely to come back, even if there were no peaches. We will find peaches. We will make peach butter. Doesn't this look amazing? Oh, such an ice cream day. so good. It's actually a little bit icy, like, you know, when ice cream goes a bit icy. And I saw people with the nectarine ice cream in a waffle cone, and I was pumped for that. It looked nice and smooth and creamy, but it had just closed by the time I got to the caravan. So this is a little bit crystally, but it's still really tasty with the nectarine. I've never had nectarine ice cream before. I promised we would come to Costco, and we are here, but oh my god, what emotional whiplash from the highs of Ruby Tuesday's birthday yesterday to the disaster that was today. I wish I had just sucked it up and driven home last night. So this morning, the dogs woke me up super early, like they always do, and particularly so when we're in Sydney. And I was going to go back to sleep because I was that tired, and they were happily playing outside, and I went back to my bedroom, and then I just thought, oh, I should just take them for a walk. It's so much easier to take Birdie for a walk on weekends early in the morning because there aren't other dogs around. And so I got changed, but I only got half changed. I decided to walk around the block in my pajama top, and thank God I only decided to get half changed, because when I came outside, I couldn't find the dogs. And then when I did, I was like, why are you guys lying on the ground? Because it's like 6:30. It's way too early for you guys to want to go back to bed. I don't understand. And then I thought, ugh, Rafa's got Birdie by the collar and he's not letting go, because sometimes he likes to wrestle other dogs by grabbing their collar, and he gets in trouble every time for doing it. But I was like, let it go, Rafa. And he didn't. And I said, mate, let it go. And I was like, why isn't he letting go? And why does she look like a gazelle having her neck drained? Like, what the hell is going on? And then I was like, he can't let go. And somehow he had got hold of both layers of her collar, and they had fallen over, and it had twisted around his lower jaw behind his fang teeth. So you couldn't lift it up over his teeth. You couldn't get it off. He was stuck and she was suffocating. And so thank God I didn't take any delay or go to sleep, because Birdie would be no more. And I managed to get them unhooked. Thank God it was a clip collar, and I managed to get them unhooked. Anyway, so there was the disaster that was this morning, and both dogs were quite shaken by that. And then just like 2 hours ago, my nephew was being supervised by my dad, and my dad comes in and says, oh, he's digging up Nanny's bluebells. And I was like, so why didn't you stop him? And I ran out to stop him from digging up the bluebells, only to discover he dug up all the bulbs and was chucking them down the driveway. I said, stop chucking them down the driveway. And then I found that Rafa had chewed some of them, and I was like, oh shit. And Rafa had actually chewed and spat out about 4 or 5 bulbs, and no idea if he'd actually eaten some. So I had to call the dog poison hotline, and they were like, you need to go to hospital. He needs to vomit them up right now, and he needs to be monitored for 8 hours. So Rafa is in hospital right now, attached to an ECG machine. And I am so tired and worried about him, and I just want to go home. But I'm not picking him up for another 7 hours, assuming everything's fine. So I have to pick him up at 9 p.m. and after today, I'm exhausted. And so I was like, well, I need to do something to keep me busy while he's in hospital. Birdie's asleep at home with Nanny. So I'm here at Costco. This will be my first Black Friday shopping, and to be honest, like, I'm basically broke, because this morning they told me it was going to be at least $1,600 for Rafa. Thank God I've got pet insurance, but it's a Sunday, so they're not open. But so I have to pay for the whole thing, and so I feel like potentially going to Costco when you're like wrecked is a bad idea, because I'm either going to get nothing because I'm just walking around sort of shell-shocked and tired, or I'm going to get a whole bunch of stupid things and none of the things I needed, or I'm just going to buy a whole bunch of chocolate and like curl up in a ball when I get home. So either way, I feel like this is not going to go well, but I wanted to go to Costco right before we left because I wanted to be able to get perishables like the meats and things and take them home in the esky, although now we're not leaving till tomorrow if everything goes according to plan. And I'm so over it. I just want to go home. So I'm going to go into Costco. I may or may not film in there. I think I probably won't because I'm over it. I'm over it and I'm tired. But we will definitely do a haul when we get home, when everybody is healthy and happy and home. I perked up a bit once I was in Costco because the first thing I saw was something I actually really need, a mortar and pestle. My last one shattered when I tried to smush some garlic up. I looked at getting some more kiwis to try in the freeze dryer this time instead of dehydrating, but they were all a bit squishy, and then I looked and saw for the first time there was a packed on date, and then they had been packed like a week ago. These mangoes were amazing though, and a great deal. And I basically just wandered around Costco and looked at things like these seasonings and looked at the ingredients and tried to take note of it so I could potentially try and use the freeze dryer to make my own seasoning powders in the future. It always amazes me how many hidden extras are in these things, so if this is something I can use my freeze dryer for, I'll be really excited. The Christmas decorations were just something else. I would love to be able to go all in on Christmas and use some of these amazing decorations and be able to afford them. I was in love with these ribbons as well, but I find it really hard to justify the cost of ribbons when it is such a significant cost just to add to your wrapping. I was really in love with the orange leaf one, but given that we don't really celebrate any holidays in our fall or autumn, it didn't seem to make much sense. But like things like having these light stands and this little wombat would make me so happy to have my house be totally decked out for Christmas. And I couldn't believe there was a wombat actually, because I was like, oh, that weird thing looks like a wombat. And when it was, I was just completely stoked. So rare to see like Australianized decorations on any particular level. They're so expensive though, and there's no way they're in my budget anytime soon. I did check out some new freeze-dried fruits that they had. I've previously bought the strawberry ones, and I was impressed to see that there was a little bit more variety. And given how light freeze-dried food turns out to be, I think they're not like a bad price given when you run a freeze dryer. It probably costs you a few dollars each time. But we were in and out pretty quickly. We got a good amount of stuff, and I will do a haul for you guys in the next video. But it was kind of an overwhelming trip to Sydney. We had also been to a wedding, so it had already been a massive week, and I just wanted to head home and pick up my beautiful boy. We already had the car packed because the only thing I hadn't put in the car while I was packing it was the esky, and that's when Rafa ate the bluebells. So we were ready to go. It was just a matter of getting Rafi home now.
Hello, special boy. Oh, my boy. Oh, my boy.